Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Pup Bale, and you're very welcome here on the channel. This time I'll be showing you 3 kinds of throw-ins for getting the ball to the pivot. You know those counter-attack situations when sometimes we get the ball, but we might not know how to get it to the pivot, or maybe the throw is off, depending on the corner of the court. I'll show you today in this video how you can use 3 kinds of throw-ins in 3 different situations. So join me as I'll show you how to execute each throw-in so that the pivot can properly receive the ball and prepare a killer counter-attack. Stay tuned and stick around till the end as I'll be showing you, alright? If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Share it, ring the bell, share this video with your team as well so they can practice. Practice with your pivots. It's very important you practice and get to know your pivot style so you'll know where they like to receive the ball. Cool? So join me. Enough chit chat. Let's jump into the video. So let's go, guys. Join me as I show you these 3 kinds of throw-ins. I set up on the court, as you can see, 3 cones, 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 yellow. Each cone represents a different kind of throw-in I'll be demonstrating. You know those situations where goalkeepers struggle and sometimes disagree with the pivots, like when the pivot asks, why didn't you send it here? Or why didn't you send it like this? I'm going to show you some situations you need to pay attention to in order to execute a good throw-in. These are 3 different situations. Let me show you. This one, the blue cone, is when the pivot shakes off an opponent and goes to receive the ball on the wing. He comes around to receive the ball on the wing. I'll explain this situation. The red cone in the back is when the pivot slips behind and goes for the ball. This ball here is the loftier one, falling like a balloon, or a stronger lower throw for them to catch on their chest. Cool? And we have the yellow cone where the pivot shakes off and goes for the penalty, and the goalkeeper plays a low ball for them to try and deflect with their head or attempt to chest it. It's quite hard, but it can happen. So these midfield balls are very dangerous. You need to be extremely careful when you're executing a throw-in with a midfield ball to the pivot. It must be a strong, accurate throw-in, or you might face a lethal counter-attack and concede a goal due to your mistake. Cool, so join me. I'll go through the first situation, which is the blue cone. This is when the little pivot slips away and comes to receive on the wing to get the ball out of pressure. Sometimes the opposing team is pressuring, and that's why we have a play here at the club called play number 1, which is the pivot swinging to free up the wing on the left and coming around to receive the ball on the ground. I'll point out to you actually the mistake that goalkeepers make in this scenario first. The mistake that can make it challenging for both your team and the pivot to play the ball. Controlling the ball. The main mistake we usually see in this situation is the goalie's bad throw out and the bouncing ball comes to the pivot to control it. It's known that there's a defender right behind him, and the pressure for him to control the ball is high since the defender is quickly getting in his space and pushing him. If the ball bounces, it becomes even more difficult for him to control it. Therefore, the tip for you all is that the error you should avoid is bouncing the ball. I'll illustrate with an example from the games I observe where goalies throw and the pivot struggles to control it. When the ball leaves the goalie's hand for that shot and it bounces, it complicates the situation for the pivot player who is there to receive the pass. He's already getting pushed from the side and has to stay alert to control the ball. If it bounces, it may go sideways or even bounce back into the middle, leading to a counterattack. So keep that in mind. How should I throw in this situation? I'll give you 2 options based on the size of the field and your playing level. The first option is simple, and I will demonstrate. This method is the classic rolling throw with a bit more power that ensures the ball gets accurately to the pivot. He'll have an easier time controlling the ball if it rolls to him at a low height. But be careful not to throw too softly. If the ball gets there slowly, the opponent may bring down the pivot and take a shot at your goal. If you throw a weak pass and the ball doesn't reach the pivot in time, the opponent may bring down the pivot and get a clear shot at your goal. So take note of this. What's the best way to proceed here? Pay attention to the pivot's timing. What does that mean exactly? It makes no sense for your pivot to make a move, and by the time the ball bounces its way to him, he's already been intercepted. Judge the right time for the pivot to make his move, and when the opponent is caught off guard, that's when the ball needs to be there for the pivot. Take note of the timing and make sure that if the defender or winger is likely to intercept, Either don't pass or pass a high ball to the back. But for this, you need to be familiar with the pivot's play style. To know when to pass, you should be able to see if the pivot can hold the ball without losing it. Consider the timing and be sure to avoid letting the count reach 4 seconds. Never wait until the last second to release the ball. If you hesitate, you'll give away a foul and possibly a goal from direct free kick. So first off, communicate with the pivot. Know his style. If he's the sort that declares he can control the ball, go ahead and pass it. For example, the first kind of pass you can make is the bowling throw. I'll avoid hitting the cone there to save me from having to set it back up later. Though despite saying I'll avoid it, I might still hit it. Alright, so I'll grab the ball, position it, count in my head 1, Alright, I let 2 go. It's always key to keep this in mind, guys. Another critical thing about playing ball, if a player anticipates, first thing, if the pivot is right-footed, he is going to control the ball to this side. If this side here is the edge of the court, it's really important that you always play the ball outwards, always to the side that's further from the defenders so they can anticipate. If this is the side, the pivot, it's really important. He will come to this side here. If you play the ball coming to the left side, if he tries to control it, the opponent will anticipate and it will lead to a goal. So the goal is always to send it to the far leg, to the side. If the pivot can't control it, it will go out and the opponent won't be able to anticipate it. You have those sly fullbacks that when you play against, the guy is just waiting for the pivot's move. As soon as the pivot makes a move, the guy comes to anticipate. So if you always play the ball a bit to the further outside, it'll be a little harder. Your pivot will receive a good pass, but at the same time, it will be difficult for the opponent to anticipate. So keep that in mind. Cool. This bouncer here is the first option for the winger's situation. The second situation is when I'm starting a counter-attack, I want to speed up this ball. So I won't play it slowly here, but I'll speed it up with the delivery here by lowering the body a lot. It's really important when you're going to make this kind of delivery, you lower your body a lot so the ball can leave from down here and go smooth to the receiver. This is really important because it will speed up the counter-attack, and stepping in, he's going to get here, trap the ball nicely. Cool. Then another style, you get the ball, control it. Remember, you always have to keep the seconds in mind. You got to know the situation. I called the play. I don't know. We have a house call. We make 1-1. I get the ball. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to shoot that ball out. Cool. This fastball already arrived before the other one, which could also get there, but it depends a lot on the situation. In practice, I like to throw a lot of this ball here with the arm fully extended. Isn't easy. I have to have a lot of people asking me, hey, Philo, can you make a video on how to throw, how to hold the ball? I'll see if I can make it, creating a video for you guys and explaining this type of situation. Oh, and remember, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, didn't subscribe yet, and you're watching this video, take a minute and hit subscribe down below. Go on, let's go. Join us. All right, we're done. Let's share this with your friends. Join the group. There's cool videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on the channel. Also, follow us on Instagram at Philo_and_Elaine_football. I'll leave it down below. Stay tuned on Instagram. Loads of content, lots of little vids, lots of great advice. Great, and if you don't already belong to our Telegram group, I'll leave the details in the comments and the video description so you can join the group. In the Telegram group, I share loads of training videos with them. I also conduct surveys and ask them what styles of live sessions they want on Instagram. It's really nice. Join and participate. We also have a giveaway. We had a knee pad giveaway, and we'll have many more in the future. Great. Hit subscribe. Follow us. We're in this together. All right, let's move on. This was the first situation of launching to the pivot on the wing. Let's move to the second one, which is deep down, a high ball to the pivot. Okay? Great. Let's go.